Alright, so here we go. Another great week. Over 100 points signaled again. If you would have took only one contract, you would have made about $3,000 this week. As you can see through the week, no trades Monday, 2 for 2 on Tuesday, only 1 for 2 on Wednesday, but net positive 68 points. 2 for 2, a total 100 points on Thursday. And then Friday, I took a personal loss and signaled one loss, both minus 10 points, but a net positive of 3,000 bucks per one mini. Alright, going into Monday here. This was a no news Monday, so as you know from the last recap video, these are usually no trade days unless the setup is literally beautiful. I won't spend too much time on this, but there was, real quick, there was a very nice SMT here into this 15-minute gap here. We took out London lows into a 15-minute, had a nice SMT. It was a nice spot to bounce, but let me show you here. After 9 a.m. there wasn't any great like PO3 entry into it. So let's see, 9 a.m. opened. 9 a.m. opened here, and we never really got any nice bottom wick back into this area, which would have been my area to try to take a long there, or just any internal PO3. Never really got anything, so don't want to spend too much time on that. No trade on Monday. And then Tuesday, we had 2 for 2 but 0 points. You'll figure out here in a second that both trades alerted on this day went break even. But let's get a quick analysis on these. Like I showed y'all, we had that nice bounce spot off Monday, so going to Tuesday and looking at pre-market action, we were pretty bullish for this day. What zone was this? Was it an hourly that we were looking at here? Yeah, hourly FEG. And then I still have this stuff marked. Where are we at? Yeah, so Asia highs were taken pre-market, London highs were taken pre-market, and then going into New York Open, London lows and Asia lows, which I don't, oh yeah, they were way down here. So Asia low was kind of so obvious that we were already like displacing away from it. So we just had London lows marked. As you can see, we sweep London lows and we dipped into this hourly. That would be for our second entry, but for our first entry, we jump down to the 1 minute here. I hate how it takes me all the way back to that. But here we go, boom. So after all that analyzed, we had a bullish bias. 8:40, we get the initial sweep of London, get the initial bounce. Then we get the resweep right at 9. We get this accumulation, resweep. And basically we have this bigger range. So we're looking at this as our accumulation range, manipulation, and then distribution. So all we did here was wait for a CISD or IFEG. And as you can see, our entry was up here. That's the one I alerted. It was a CISD above this high here, targeting these highs. And we hit our first internal areas. We hit, I think this was a 5-minute or 15-minute gap up here. Move stops to break even. Didn't quite achieve our target and came in break even dust. So we count that as a green trade because whenever we move break even, we recommend you're taking profits or moving stops to break even. So break even or a little bit of green, it was what everyone was on here, but break even for me. So 0 points on that. And then we got the resweep into that hourly FEG that I showed y'all. So this still looked very strong. We had this whole accumulation. We get the manipulation into this hourly. Start to roll over here. And then you can see we had this big 1 minute FEG that sent us through in this manipulation. All I did here was wait for price to come back up, show it's ready to reverse and inverse that. As you can see, it inversed it here. We took this long with at least the target of this LRL, all these LRL highs here. Usually a good draw on liquidity. And as you can see, we went, how much points was this? Like 25 points. And then hit this first internal area of all the LRL. Move stops to break even. Instantly got slammed to break even again. So Tuesday, no money made, no money lost. Some great entries, just no follow through on them. So start off the week 2 for 2 technically, but no money made on the week. It's the power of patience. I like to wait and take the best setups I can, so that my weeks are net profitable and I'm profitable over time. And then Wednesday, pretty good day here. We had Asia highs taken, Asia lows already taken, and then the London highs taken, and I believe London lows were, yeah, the London low was way down here. So where are we at Wednesday? Yep, right here. So I believe this was a 15-minute that we're looking at here. Let's see. yeah, so boom, we take out London, Asia, find support in this order block area, form a bullish FVG through structure, and then instantly slam inverse it, um, creating a 15-minute BPR. And then, so obviously we were pretty bearish down to these London lows here. And then also we had equal lows, relative equal lows here, and previous week low resting here. So overall pretty bearish on this day. And as you can see, where we at? Where we at? Oh, let's drop 1 minute for that first entry. So this was the day where I got that nice top tick entry. I know Shukiz remembers that one. Let's see. Yeah, so here's our initial shot at this short. Was that we created that 15-minute BPR, kind of expecting a breakaway to form out of that because we get this initial accumulation range here going into the 9 a.m. open, which is obviously what we're waiting for. And as you can see, we get the accumulation here. We kind of get a double manipulation, which is kind of probably the reason this one ended up getting stopped out. It was a little sloppy. Like usually you want to see accumulation and then manipulation and then distribution, but we kind of got accumulation and then we manipulated the lows and manipulated the highs. But I was still probably too strong on my bias. Like I could have waited for this one, but I ended up taking this at the IFEG here after getting this sweep of these accumulation highs into this displacement area. I was so short, so I just took this IFEG here, and as you can see, got stopped for around 17 points on that one with targets at this London low, but that one got stopped out. And then later on, like I said, that 15-minute BPR we formed was so beautiful, and it also lined up with a 1-hour rejection block wick. I guess I'll show you guys that real quick, just for some free sauce. Where's it at? Wednesday. Oh, it might have been a 15-minute. Okay, I have no idea where that went, or it might have been a 4-hour. It was. I know it was this the CE of the rejection block for something. Oh yeah, here it is. It was so pre-market. This 4-hour candle, as you can see, it wicked into this bearish 4-hour gap and formed a like a wick out of it, right? So this big wick, you can take your gone box here and mark it out, and it'll give you the 50% and the 25% of it. So I mark that out, and then that's what this red line is here on this Wednesday. Where are we at? Here we are. So this red line on this Wednesday day was the CE, so just the middle, the 50% of that rejection block. And then it was also that 15-minute BPR I showed. So I put a limit order there, and Shukizi and Tito, they saw it in the live, but it was a top tick on that one. And then obviously this one ended up running crazy, but I was already red from that first trade. So I took a lot off at this first internal low here, which is where I get the 84 or 85 points from at this first internal low. It kept running. Couldn't really hold for that because I already had secured the majority of my profits at that first low. But that was the trade for that day, which gave us a 1 for 2 net profit 68 points because we had what 85 and 17. Minus 17 plus 85. So that's how we got that for Wednesday. And then so now we're finally net positive on the week after 3 days. We had 2 days, no money. Wednesday we had plus 68 points. And then going into Thursday, this is our big day here. We had... So looking at pre-market real quick. We had this nice reversal. Oh yeah, this was the day off the hourly, right? Yeah, so going into Thursday, literally just getting a look at this chart, this is a clear market maker buy model. Like we're on the buy side of the curve here, especially with this huge wick. So the bias was very long, especially with this right here. The hourly chart re-swept all these lows into this hourly gap and got this huge wick out of it, which showed a lot of strength. And so that gave us our bullish bias for this day. And then also drop it out to the lower time frames. Yeah, so if you could mute your mic. But drop it down to lower, you good. Drop it down to lower time frames. This one also swept all these relative equals. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 lows here. Got swept going into New York Open. So that's like 3 things on the higher time frame that already line up for our long bias for the day, which is why we were able to catch over 100 points on the entry and the re-entry that I signaled. But that was our bias for the day. And then going into 9 a.m., let's see. Here we are. So going to 9 a.m., we had this 15-minute gap here and then this 5-minute gap here. So where are we at? 9 a.m.'s way up here. So we're already super bullish on the day. Now all we need is this new 4-hour candle to open up, set in that bottom wick, and find our entry model for the 9 a.m. PO3. And 9 a.m. opens here. We get this initial accumulation, and then we set in this bottom wick of this 4-hour candle. We want to make sure this 15-minute doesn't get closed below. It never does. This is on the 1 minute, but on the 15-minute it held it. And this one tapped into the 15-minute, also tapped into this bottom 5-minute, got a strong reaction out of it. 15-minute closed back within this, and we got this initial CISD entry. This first candle wicked and closed back below, so this was a kind of less confident, not less confident, but it was just a shakier call out because I wanted to make sure this was for sure had the strength to go. I did take my trade here, but I also, like, once we have something this strong and you know something's going to basically go to the draw on liquidity, any entry model is going to work, right? So this first entry model that I took, obviously it was like quote unquote the best one, but there's always re-entries on like a leg up. So I signaled this re-entry into this 1 minute gap. We get another reaccumulation after another push. We get the manipulation down into this 1 minute gap, and this is where I signaled the more clear like re-entry for you guys, which still went over 100 points, broke out all-time highs, and that's how we caught that long on Thursday, giving us our biggest day of the week of 100 points or $2,000 per mini contract. And then going into Friday, there wasn't much people in live call Friday. Wasn't really planning on trading on Friday, but ended up finding some decent entries. I only signaled one of them, so technically anyone in the Discord, by the way, if you guys want to join the Discord, the free section, the link's in the description, and also the application for the free trials in the description. But I only signaled out one of these to the Discord, which was this first one. So obviously pretty bearish reaction pre-market off of the London highs being swept, and we formed a 15-minute. However, a 15-minute bearish right here, which is what we were watching. However, the 4-hour chart from Thursday, after getting that big buy-side curve pump that we caught 100 points on, we had this big 4-hour gap. I was expecting this to actually hold and set in a higher wick for the weekly candle. So I was kind of long out of that zone, watching over that. So let's drop down to the 1 minute here. As you can see, both entries today or on Friday were long. So we have 9 a.m. open here. Kind of some nonsense chop around. We just patient, waited. Finally got this kind of like staircase up and then harsh like dump through it and then instantly bought back up. So at this point, this was in this big 4-hour gap that I've marked here. I was expecting us to set in that an extended top wick for the week. So I was looking for a long. I was watching this FEG right here. As you can see, we didn't close it here, but then we finally came and closed above it. So I took a long here. This is the one. This is the one I signaled, and let's see. Yeah, so pretty much instantly didn't get no momentum through these highs. Got stopped out, minus 10 points there. And then later on in the day, we had formed this 15-minute, like I said. So I was watching this to get inversed. I remember I wrote on my screen, if this 15-minute inverses, go long for the day. If it holds, go short for the day. But the 5-minute chart is what I wanted to show you guys. Yeah, so the 5-minute chart out of this 4-hour zone that I initially tried the long out of, as you can see, we got that resweep, we got the flip, the 5-minute shifted structure, and then after it shifted structure, this 5-minute candle retested a 5-minute fair value gap, held up really strong, and then it formed another 5-minute fair value gap and started getting that wick holding up strong again. So although we had this 15-minute here, I was kind of like, I guess you could say like pre-firing the long, even though we didn't quite inverse the 15-minute yet. But it looked really clean. So the second entry was we wicked into this 5-minute that I have marked there. We got this flip, got the CISD on the 1 minute, and I tried another long here to play this breakout. Didn't get the breakout, stopped minus 10 points. So that was our only red day on the week. 2 small losses, minus 20 points. But like I said, we like to keep our losses small and our winners huge. We had the big win here. And overall on the week, net profit 150 points, which is $3,000 per mini contract. If you guys have any questions, just drop them in the comments, or you guys can unmute and ask now if you want. But that's pretty much it.